For as long as I can remember, for as long as I've been training in the gun community, it's been taught to me that if you slap the trigger or you jerk the trigger, for a right-handed shooter, your shots are most likely going to end up bottom left. For a left-handed shooter, it's taught to us, or it was taught to us, that most likely your shots are going to impact lower and to the right. And the barrel should look something like this. I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate. I have no magazine in the well of my weapon. I'm going to lock the slide to the rear, conduct a visual and physical inspection of the chamber, and we are clear. So it will look something like this. For a right-handed shooter, because you're jerking the trigger, it's doing this. Look at the direction of the barrel. Okay, that's what's being shown to us, or that is what has been shown to us for decades, at least for me. Now, for a wrong-handed shooter, I mean a left-handed shooter, it would look something like this. But it would look something like this. Lower right. That we're seeing now in the gun community is that if you apply sufficient support hand strength, your barrel will not go bottom to the left. And that's for a right-handed shooter. For a left-handed shooter, if you apply that support hand strength, that support pressure, okay, consistently every single time, your shots would no longer end up on the bottom right of the target. And that goes to the vise theory. Just imagine that this pistol is in a vise. It's in some type of clamp. The clamp doesn't move. The pistol barely moves upon recoil. If you can create your own vise, then I think that the logic here is that your shots should impact more or less wherever you're pointed at. And it should be consistent because you're vising the grip. And what usually happens with a lot of novice and even intermediate shooters, sometimes advanced as well, is after the third shot, your grip just starts breaking apart. So if you keep remembering to apply that support hand strength, I think that you're going to get a lot more consistent shooting. What I want you guys to emphasize on is this pinky pressure. Apply as much as you can. And the theory is that your hand becomes that vise. So I'm going to demo what your shot placement, well, what my shot placement looks like if I slap the trigger and if I have a crappy grip. I'm going to then demonstrate having a good grip, a firm grip, just like the grip that I just demonstrated. And I'll demonstrate slapping the trigger at the same time, and we'll see what happens. So now I'm going to demo having a weak grip and just slapping the trigger. So I'm used to having a good grip, so let me just weaken that up a little bit. And I'm going to shoot doubles. I just jerked the trigger and I had a weak grip. And I'll show you where the shot placement's at. So we talked about lower left. Here's lower left. I would expect it to be around here, but it's still low left. This is more or less my point of aim. And then here again, we have a lower shot. So this is me having a crappy grip or a weak support hand grip and slapping the trigger. Now let's try something different. It's 7 yards. So I'm going to give it a strong support hand grip with really thinking about my pinky and applying a lot of pressure right in the pinky on my support hand. So I did shoot a little bit low, but it's not for me jerking the trigger. I want to say it's probably my dot wasn't around here. I probably lowered a little bit, but look it. You have this. Okay, this is having that strong support hand strength and jerking the trigger. I even jerked the trigger. And then right here is where I had a weak support hand grip. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a significant amount of support hand pressure, concentrating on my pinky, and I will be slapping the trigger all day long. I'll be jerking the trigger. I will not have as consistent trigger press as a lot of firearm experts would agree that I should. And let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. My prediction is my shots are going to begin right into the A zone, and they're going to start veering to the left a little bit. And what is possibly happening in that circumstance, after the 4th, 5th, 6th round, 7th round, 8th round, I'm probably losing grip. So let's do this. So if we count the lines, we have all alpha hits. All alpha hits, except we got one Charlie. Look at that. I shot as fast as possible. I didn't even concentrate on consistent trigger press. And look at 7 yards. 7 yards. 7 yards begins right here at the silhouette, and it ends right at the cone. 7 yards or 21 feet. Some of you who are running striker fire pistols might be going by the old advice, or you might be following the old advice of, let me hit the wall, let me feel and hear that trigger reset before I break another shot. That does seem logic when you are out at flat range, when nobody's trying to hurt you, nobody's trying to kill you. That might seem logic to do, because it seems like you have more trigger control if you deploy that technique. However, in a real life situation, when cortisol levels are running insane, flowing throughout your body, distorting perception, your mind is running chaotically, you might be in control or maybe not. Do you really think that you're going to be listening for that auditory click or feeling that trigger reset? That's not the case. The reality is, most likely you are going to be holding the gun, like gripping hard on it, and just pressing the trigger. You're not even thinking about breaking the shot, hitting the wall, waiting for that click. No. Ask anybody who's been in a real life death encounter, some type of lethal force situation that involved a striker fire pistol, and ask them if they listen for the auditory click. Maybe I could be wrong. Or if they felt, or they waited for the feeling of the trigger reset before breaking another shot. Ask them. So why don't we just concentrate on grip strength, on having that proper amount of support hand strength? If you do that, then you can get consistent hits like I did at 7 yards. Look, 7 yards. I'm no guru when it comes to firearms, but come on, guys, that's almost all A-zone hits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 A-zone hits and 1 Charlie, which is technically still a hit all the way at 7 yards.